Okay, hello everybody. Today I'm gonna go over how to like mint from contract and read contracts on Etherscan. So I'm just gonna pull like a randomly recently verified contract here. Let's look for one that maybe has some activity. And I would just a word of warning: always be careful when you're like looking at these because some of them are traps like honeypots. And, obviously none of these are endorsements for any of these projects. I'm trying to find one with like value in it. Here's one. It's got 0.22 ETH. Let's see what this is. Okay, so we could see there's only one file here. So it looks like it was like mashed or flattened. So a lot of the, like this is an NFT contract. So we could see here, some of these functions, the mint function here, we're gonna wanna look for, this is the main contract, notes for tomorrow, ERC 721A, price is 0.005. Well, at least that's what it was set at to begin with. So we can just look to see kind of like, some of the code here. We can look at the mint function. They have some kind of like revert, if the sale state is not open, then the sale is inactive, revert the transaction. If the, current index is greater than the supply, revert that it's sold out. And then if the message value does not equal the price times the quantity that you're trying to mint, revert that there's an invalid price. So we could see like this is a function here that looks safe enough that it will actually mint an NFT. Let's check the safe mint to see that they didn't like edit it at all, because they can do that too, right? So this is the function safe mint, and then minting, we can find that also. And I'm just double clicking to highlight and then hitting Control F, and then that will find, like search the contract. So, yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks untouched. That, this contract won't like drain your wallet. So we can also get an idea of the different functions here. So we can like check the balance of an address here. We can see this is the owner of the contract. This is the price of the contract. Now, just so everybody's aware too, that like 5 billion, that's in Wei, right? So a unit of measurement. So it's actually 0.005 ETH. So it's not like 5 billion ETH for NFT. Then we can see that 44 have been minted so far. If they burn some, it might be more than that, but chances are it's just 44. And then we can see the total supply is 12,000. So, then here we can write the contract. This is where you're gonna do like if you're gonna interact with the contract, you're gonna go to the write contract. So we can connect to Web3, and then we can pick, I'll just do MetaMask. Now I'm not going to interact with this contract because I have no idea what it is and I don't want to. But this will just give you an idea, like a walkthrough of how this works. So once you're connected, you have to make sure that this little green circle connected, right? And then from here, you can like put in, how much you want to mint, right? So here we would just put the 0.05 and then 1, and then I should be able to hit write, and we'll see I have a transaction pop up that I don't have. Maybe the sale's not active. It looks like you were not able, or it's actually 0.05, right? So because my price was wrong, it was showing an error. Let's see if this fixes it. Yeah, so it's just my gas fee, right? So if I check that. So I could submit this transaction and mint the NFT, like I said, I'm not going to do that because I have no idea what this is. Even though it did look safe, I just don't want to spend $8 for the purpose of this video. So I'm going to reject that. But then, like, if I had one of these NFTs, I could also transfer that between people by using the safe transfer from. Ignore my address. Yeah, I used to live here. I don't live here anymore, so you can go there. You won't find me. I would put, from my address to the address I want to send it to, and then what token ID I want to send it to. And then normally in this data, we could just do 0x00. And if you're not quite sure, like, how to, like, if you're trying to look at other transactions and you're like, like, does the data need to be different? You can always go to transactions here, and you can see, this might be a bad example because there's like no activity. So let's pull up, OpenSea, and we'll go to the granddaddy example of Bored Apes, right? So we can always find a contract address from the OpenSea also. You could usually just click right here, and that'll bring you to the Etherscan. So we can see here, this safe transfer from has been called. So this person transferred, and they transferred number 8558 from this address to this address. And then we can even see click to see more, and then decode input data. And you can see this is where they entered, I guess there's no data input on the safe transfer on the Bored Apes. So let's look at the Bored Ape contract a little bit here. Contract is public also, right? So again, same thing. We can read the contract to see like different things. Max 10,000 apes. This was the price of apes when you could mint them, what the mint fee was. And then there was some other stuff in here, the symbol, the name, the owner. They've since renounced ownership, so that's why it's the 0 address. But you can enter a token ID here and see who the owner of it is. So this person currently owns token ID number 2. You can even see how many this person owns. If we use balance of, they own 2 apes, right? So they own number 2 and another one, maybe number 1 also, or something like that, or not sure. We could always like go into their wallet and kind of see. So yeah, let me look at the, so we have one with the data and then one without the data. So I think most of them are probably using without the data. You don't really need to. I'm not entirely sure, I'll be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure the difference between these two. I think it's just if you wanted to send like a message with the transfer, you can do that here with the data. If you have this one available, you could just use one. But again, like you never want to trust that just because it says mint or transfer is like safe. You always want to kind of look at the code first to make sure that like it's actually doing what it says it's doing. And you can look for this here. What you really want to avoid and like look out for is any sort of like transfer. Like if we look at the withdraw, right? This is the withdraw function for the contract. So it says how much money is in this contract, and then send that money, transfer that balance, transfer the balance to the message sender. So the owner would be able to call this function, only the owner would be able to call this, and they would withdraw it, and then it would send them all the money. So you want to make sure that, like, because people have done that where they disguise it as a mint function or something, but it actually just takes all your ETH, right? So you want to be careful of that. The other thing is you definitely want to be wary of setting approval, right? So we have this function here, set approval for all. So like if I owned a Bored Ape, I could, like, if somebody else owned a Bored Ape, they could take my, wallet address and like put it in here, and then if somebody who owned a Bored Ape was to do this, then I would have the ability to move their apes. uh, so we do this with like Uniswap and OpenSea so that we can list on their marketplace and things like that, but those are trusted like platforms, right? But scammers can use this function to basically steal everything you have. So you definitely want to be wary of any sort of set approval functions. Even the just normal approve, it doesn't approve the whole collection. It just approves like one token. So if I only wanted, like if I had 10 apes and I wanted to give permission to, somebody to control that one ape, I could do that here without giving them access to all of the apes I own. But either way, most of the time we don't want to do this at all. But that's really how you do it. Don't forget you have to connect up here, right? And then really it just comes down to looking at the code, right? I mean, you can get a quick idea of like what the contract does, what it is here. You can read the different functions here that return values, or you can see like what kind of functions can be written. All of these functions in the write contract will trigger a transaction that you'll have to pay gas. In the read contract, you don't have to pay any gas to call these, right? So theory. But yeah, again, just really want to drive it home that just because something says mint the NFT doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to mint the NFT, right? Like these, I can call this anything. Like if I took this contract, I could rename the withdraw function to mint. Like it doesn't have to be, descriptive of what it actually does. I mean, I could just call this like Dugaldorf, right? And if we look at even at goblins, is probably a good example of the code like being whatever you kind of want it to be. Pull this up here. Goblins did something kind of interesting with their code that it's all kind of like funny. Like make goblin go bye-bye is basically burn, I think. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure like what some of these do. But you can see like they kept some of the core functions the same because they kind of have to be if they want to integrate. And you don't want to have this like accidentally be called. So, but it looks like minting, like making goblin, right? We can find that here. So we can see making goblin says that, yeah, you're minting the goblin, right? So this is the mint function. Says that total goblins equals total supply. We want to make sure that total goblins plus goblin bye-bye is less than or equal to goblins. It's just a whole bunch of like weirdness. Goblins, this is how many goblins there are total, 9,999. Goblin bye-bye is, it looks like it's just maybe like a set number. Because a lot of these start at 0, so they probably wanted to start at 1, so they did that for that reason. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you could kind of see like this is kind of hard to like understand as somebody who knows how to read this because it's just kind of cracked out. But you can see this is like a patch mint, right? So they could mint a number of goblins to an address. So like the owner could mint it to another wallet that's not their own, right? Normally the safe mint is message sender, so whoever calls this gets the goblin. But this was a function that only the owner could call to mint the goblin to somebody else, and then they don't have to pay anything. Or I think these were free anyway to begin with, so you didn't really have to worry. And then, oh, goblin bye-bye is you could only mint one at a time. Like you could only mint one per wallet address. So they were keeping track of how many a wallet address minted. See here, they're adding to the mapping here. So I mean, you definitely need like some sort of understanding of Solidity, but a lot of it's like human readable. I mean, really, you just want to make sure that like this is what you're seeing when you're minting something. And you know, I know there was like the reason I'm doing this because there's some question about like how to stake ApeCoin when you're like when they've geo-blocked, you know, the US and stuff. So as far as I know, like there's no way for them to geo-block the smart contract. So if you get the contract address, you should be able to come here, connect your wallet. There'll be some sort of function called like stake, right? And you can probably do that there. The only thing is you're probably going to have to set approval to the ApeCoin contract first, because ApeCoin is like is a token. So you'll have to find the ApeCoin. I don't know. I don't have it like up here. I don't even know where I could find it really. I'm sure I could find it on like Uniswap or something. But because you're gonna probably need to give the contract permission, the staking contract permission to use your ape. So again, another reason why you want to be super confident that the contract you're interacting with is the right contract, right? Well, if I do this, and buy some, might be able to contract address. So another way is to make sure that you're dealing with the right contract. When this pops up, you'll see this is, you know, the contract I'm trying to deal with, and this is actually Uniswap's contract. Their DEX, right? So like this is the Uniswap contract. Everything looks good. You know, I'm confirmed. So I would feel comfortable doing this, but I'm not trying to actually swap that right now. What I can do is data. I think my wallet address. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have the token I want. Let me see if I can find. Just probably not. But anyway, what I'm going to want to do is go to the token contract, give approval to the token contract to so imagine this is the ApeCoin contract, and always verify that it's the ApeCoin contract. As you can see, I had kind of a hard time finding it just because I don't own any. If I owned some, it would be pretty easy. I could just go to my own Etherscan, look in my wallet, see that I own ApeCoin, and then find it that way. And then I would want to come here, connect to wallet, right? And then with tokens, it's a little bit different than NFTs. So this would be the ApeCoin staking contract. I would put that here. And then the amount, I would put that here. Now keep in mind, this amount is going to be in way. So you're going to want to use this plus to like add 10 to the 18th. So if I wanted to do 100 ApeCoin, I would do 100 and then add 10 to the 18th. So that's how much I need to put if I want to give the contract the ability to use 100 ApeCoin. And then once I do that, then I can go and I can stake on the staking contract, right? So the other contract where I would actually stake the tokens. So I could probably do a better video once we actually have the contract address. If you have the contract address and you know what it is, even if it's on testnet or you have another contract you want me to look at, to go over, let me know. And I can see about doing a video for that one specifically. But that is how you do it. It's pretty straightforward. Again, just always make sure you check the code that, you know, and check the contract to make sure that the contract you're interacting with is the one that you intend to interact with, and the function that you're interacting with does what it should be doing, right? So good luck, happy decentralization, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comments or anything like that. Okay,